Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Lucy Sandell, and I'm with the Northwestern Alumni Association. And I'm happy to have our presenter today, Lorraine Lee. Lorraine is going to be talking about how to build your presence on LinkedIn. She's a top-rated career and business virtual keynote speaker and leader at the intersection of editorial and tech with more than 300,000 followers on LinkedIn. Lorraine speaks to global office audiences ranging from Fortune 100 and tech firms to government organizations and top-ranked universities. She's also a finalist for Global Conference Speaker of the Year by Women Tech. She brings more than 10 years of experience from companies including Prezi, SlideShare, and LinkedIn, and is an 11-time LinkedIn learning instructor. Lorraine has been featured in publications including Inc., Read Write, and Entrepreneur, and is a guest on many podcasts. I'm so excited to have her back again to talk with you. So I'm going to hand over the mic to Lorraine.
Thank you so much, Lucy, and thank you. Great to see you all here today. I'd like you all to reflect on a question for a moment. In the chat, if you could share with me, please, what challenges are you facing on LinkedIn, and what do you hope to get out of the session today? So let me know in the chat, what challenges are you currently facing on LinkedIn, and what do you hope to get out of the session today? So please let me know in the chat. Navarit said they're overwhelmed. Stephen, finding time to make meaningful posts on a frequent basis. Yes, that is definitely a challenge, even for me still. Amanda, striking the balance between promoting myself and seeming too professional. Some people want to share thought leadership. Wow, a lot of, this is great, so many chats. Okay, sometimes it can be very quiet. How to create my profile to return to work from parenting, knowing where I'm in the top 10% of a job, getting contacted for roles that aren't a good fit, looking to launch my consulting business. Okay, there's a lot of different pain points here, and also things that you're all hoping to learn, which is wonderful. And hopefully in this talk today, in the next 30 minutes, we are going to tackle many of those things. And if we don't get to them, you can ask them in the Q&A. So why does it matter to stand out on LinkedIn and just have a really strong presence there? Well, you can build your thought leadership, which helps you be looked upon favorably, both in and outside of a company. You become more competitive and valuable to organizations, both during good and tough times. And of course, as I think we all know, it's one of the best places to find new opportunities and jobs. And today, you're going to learn the most effective tips and tricks that will elevate your LinkedIn presence so that you can create a strong online brand, connect with interesting people, we're already doing that right now in this chat, and build your thought leadership. Now, I want to share a few stats to really illustrate the power of LinkedIn. For job seekers out there in the audience, every 8 minutes, someone is hired through LinkedIn. For those in the audience who are aspiring or current thought leaders, out of LinkedIn's 900 million members, only around 3 million users share content on a weekly basis. So that's about 1% of its monthly users. And for anyone trying to do business on LinkedIn, 82% of buyers will look up a seller on LinkedIn before replying to a seller's prospecting efforts. So how are we going to set ourselves up for success so that we can reap all of this amazing opportunity here? Now, before I dive into how we're going to do all of that, I want to share a little bit more about me. So again, I'm Lorraine. It's nice to meet all of you. And I help individuals and organizations stand out and supercharge their professional presence. And when I say professional presence, I mean it in both senses of the word. So both how you come across to others and where others come across you. And both of these things are really key aspects to excelling in the workplace and are important pieces to building your online presence. I'm a virtual speaker as well and consultant at my company, Rise Learning Solutions. And before that, I was the head of editorial at Prezi, a presentation platform. I'm also a LinkedIn learning instructor, and I was a founding editor at LinkedIn for 6 years, which is a very long time in tech. Now, please, all of you, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Of course, I'm on this platform all the time. And if you'd like, feel free to take screenshots at any point during this session and post it on LinkedIn. Tag me, tag NAA, and we can keep the conversation going even after we have to say bye today. So in today's session, we're going to be covering 3 key areas for your LinkedIn. We're going to talk about optimizing your profile, creating content, and adding credibility. So let's start off with how to optimize your profile. This is really the foundation of your LinkedIn presence. Think of it as your online landing page. When you can complete your profile, you're going to be 40% more likely to get found and receive more opportunities. So I'm going to share 3 ways that you can optimize your profile. We'll talk about our LinkedIn headlines, writing a compelling about, and recording a video cover story. And of course, there are many, many other things that go into your profile, like a really great profile picture and a complete experience section. But I want to focus on these because these are some of the less obvious things to work on. So let's jump into our headlines first. The first thing that you'll want to do is, of course, create a strong headline on LinkedIn. It's one of the first things that people see when they go to your profile. Now, what you see here is what you'll see on a lot of people's profiles. They're very literal and they write what their current job is and they stop there. But there is so much more you can include and really should include because we're all more than our job titles, right? So this is a headline from my last role when I was at Prezi. It's factual, but not super informative. Editorial director at Prezi. So I recommend in your headline including at least 3 to 4 phrases to describe what you do and what you want to be known for, not only to help others understand your role, but also to add more keywords to your profile, as these do really help with search on LinkedIn. And the great news is you now have 220 characters, up from 120, and so I really want to encourage you to use all of that space, fill it up. So you might look at this format. This can be helpful as you start brainstorming what exactly you might want to add to your headline. So a format I like to use, include your job title if you want and your company, totally fine. Add some keywords for what you want to be known for or what you want to be discovered for, and then add your mission and value statement, which we'll touch on shortly. So here's my new and improved headline. So I talk about my current role as a virtual speaker. As a virtual speaker, a consultant and LinkedIn learning instructor. But I also have corporate experience I want people to know about. So maybe within your organization, you lead an ERG, or you're a culture champion, or you created an internship program. These are all things you can add to your headline that will show more of who you are. Now, anyone visiting my LinkedIn has a much more holistic understanding of who I am professionally and also what I care about. So where are we going to go to edit this? When you click the pencil icon on your profile, it will open up this pop-up where you can add your headline. And I'm just seeing now in a comment, someone's asking me to share my screen. I'm not able to, but I'm going to spotlight myself for everyone. So hopefully that helps you see the content. Now, some of you noticed I mentioned a mission statement just now. This is something that helps show your unique value and expertise. So here are some great ones for inspiration. I help you own your greatness with confidence to get hired and earn more. Or I help AEs and B2B sales pros earn 50,000 to 100,000 more this year and become the top 1%. Or maybe you help professionals succeed by being themselves. Or you help purpose-driven businesses to unlock the power of LinkedIn and work remotely. And this is my current one, helping organizations and teams stand out and supercharge their professional presence. Now, these are all real ones I found on LinkedIn. Let's look at a few more real-world examples. So my friend Diana Chan here, she has a lot of great keywords in here that tell you about her brand. She shares what she's an expert in, and she also has her mission statement / tagline here. Then you have this personal branding expert, William Aruda. He has his mission statement as well. He has a lot of credentials that he has added, and he has moments of surprise too, like how CEO means something else than what we might initially assume. Now, I do want to call out one bonus tip here. It's something that some of you may have noticed. A lot of articles about LinkedIn talk about having a professional profile picture, which is very important. But what they don't talk about as much is your background photo. And Diana and William both have original background photos with different styles. So Diana here, you can see she's using her brand colors. She makes it clear right away what she's an expert in, career and job search tips. She's also a LinkedIn top voice. She shares her social channels. And at quick glance, we can tell she's credible and we know what she's about. Now, William here took a simpler approach, but it still speaks to who he is. He wants us to focus in on that very one thing, his experience in personal branding, and that's what he's an expert in. Now, both are different, both are totally fine, great options. It just depends on your style and what you want to convey. I see a lot of people on LinkedIn, they don't have a background photo at all, or they have a background photo of a scenic, a scenic view, and it doesn't really tell me anything about them. So this is really another great place to talk about yourself and to show what you're about. Now here's one more example by Lori Richardson. She is a member of Women Sales Pros, and she's actually using her background as a billboard for her organization instead of her own personal brand. So any business owners out there, this is another option as well to experiment with. Now, there's a lot of room for creativity here to move beyond that generic stock photo, and it's one of the biggest parts of real estate on your profile. It's literally at the top. I think it is the biggest piece. So it's definitely an area of opportunity for those of you who don't have cover photos yet. Now, next up, let's talk about your About section. Now, some of you may know the About section as the summary section, which is the previous name, but now it's the About section. If you are leveraging this effectively, it is going to be the place where you are going to show the qualitative, more human side of you. This is not the place to just regurgitate what you had in your resume already or what is in your experience section. People, we don't really get excited about facts, we get excited about stories, and we connect through emotion. So this is going to be that place where you can let that shine a little bit. Something else to keep in mind about this section is that whatever you put in here gets picked up not only by LinkedIn search, but also by Google. So just like the headline needs keywords, you also want to make sure that your About section has keywords as well. Now, so for the job seekers, what that means is if you're looking for a job in product marketing, you definitely want the phrase product marketing somewhere here in the About section. Now, one other thing to note is that the section does get cut off, so you will only see 2 to 3 sentences about this part right here to start, so you need to make sure those sentences really pop so that people will want to click see more and read the rest. Now, some questions you might ask yourself to help you get started could be, how did I end up in this industry? What gets me out of bed every morning, or what gets me excited? And what do I love most about my profession? All right, next up, we're going to talk about your video cover story. So this is still a pretty under the radar and as a result, underutilized feature on LinkedIn, but it's such a good way for others to feel connected with you before they even met you. Or if they're not sure if they want to meet you, this could kind of be the thing that pushes them over the edge and decides to book that meeting with you. So in this video cover story, you have about 30 seconds to say whatever it is you want to say about who you are, what experience you bring to the table, and how you can help others. In our virtual worlds, this feature is so important because not only do potential prospects or connections get to learn about you in a much more engaging format like video, but they can connect better with you when they see things like hand gestures and they see your eye contact and they see you smiling and they hear your voice. So all these things really just make you seem, they get to know you better and you're more of a person to them rather than just a profile picture and a name on LinkedIn. So 30 seconds is about 87 to 90 words. So to make sure that you can fit in everything you want to fit in, I recommend mapping out a script, rehearsing it, and then recording. And there are also a bunch of teleprompter tools that you can put on your phone as well to help with that if you don't want to memorize something. Now with this video, you can also add stickers, you can add text after the fact to highlight key messages and to show more of your personality. So a helpful format for your video cover story will be an energetic introduction. Ideally, you're using some big power words that capture attention, sharing your expertise, and then have a call to action at the end. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to reach out, to download your resume, to book a call with you, download a free ebook? So what do you want them to do? All right, so those were our 3 tips for optimizing our profiles. Let's do a recap. To optimize your profile, you will want to elaborate on your headline, and don't forget to add a background photo, write a compelling about, and create a video cover story. Now I want to turn it back over to all of you. Would love to hear, out of all of these things right now, what is one change that you will commit to making to your profile after this session today? So out of all of these ones, which one stands out to you? or which one do you want to maybe even just learn more about if you're not ready to make that change? So let me know in the chat which one you want to act on. All right, we got a few headline. Oh, a good mix. Wow, you all type so fast. Okay, headline, keywords to add. Keywords are just so important in search. And the thing about keywords too, you might want to experiment with it. Every few months, I update my keywords and change my headline and update my about to see if that leads to increased traffic. Is a text in the background photo searchable? I don't believe it is, no. Okay, seems like a lot of about and headlines, so that's wonderful to see. All right, well, you are all set up with the profile. So next up, we'll talk about best practices for creating content. Now, content is such an important piece of LinkedIn. We talked about how the profile was the foundation. Content is going to be those additional building blocks that really help you to stand out and create that fuller picture. And this doesn't mean you need to be a content creator or have aspirations to become an influencer, but it will go a long way if you are able to get your voice out there. Now, there are a lot of content related features on LinkedIn now. So you have the LinkedIn News trending stories, LinkedIn live broadcasts, LinkedIn newsletters, and et cetera, et cetera. So you can see the platform is really transforming itself to, of course, still help people find jobs, but also be centered around content and conversations. And I shared that stat in the beginning, right? Many people still are not posting regularly. So there is a lot of opportunity here for you to take advantage of that so that you do get noticed by whoever your target audience is. So what does sharing content entail? We have creator mode, knowing the content types, commenting, making sure you stay timely, and optimizing your post content. So today we're going to focus on these first three here. Now, being able to share content that educates, informs, and inspires will help you get more visibility, whether you're looking for a new job or trying to advance in your current one. Now, in both buckets, you meet new and interesting people, and it really does open the door to many new opportunities you wouldn't expect. Now, when I first joined Prezi, I was a bit quiet on LinkedIn, just getting ramped up in my new job. And of course, while I was at LinkedIn, I posted quite regularly. But when I started posting more again, I started getting asked to be on podcasts and to do speaking gigs. And this was while I was at a corporate job still. So you can see the power that it has even in your current existing job, how it makes you more irreplaceable as an employee, having you be able to be kind of that brand advocate out there. And then also really just opens the door. If you are looking for jobs, people are going to notice you more. Now, LinkedIn is such a great place to build your visibility and to get noticed by potential clients, industry experts, recruiters, whoever it is that you want to be noticed by. Now, many years ago, a little bit LinkedIn history, access to posting content on LinkedIn was only open to LinkedIn influencers. So these were often CEOs or executives at major companies. But thankfully, that has since changed, and now anyone can share content. Now, I mentioned I was an editor at LinkedIn, and I would get lots of messages all the time, people asking if they could join this influencer program. But something that many of these people didn't realize is that, contrary to popular belief, they thought the influencers were getting the most visibility, engagement, etc. But it wasn't usually them. I mean, of course, the Richard Bransons of the world, sure, but most influencers were not. It was really the people like me or the people like you who were publishing regularly, sharing their thoughts, and actually engaging with their commenters and followers and getting to know who was in their community and their audience. So how do we become one of those people who gets that engagement? The first thing is to turn on creator mode. With creator mode turned on, you will notice a few changes to your profile. Your connect button is going to become a follow button. You can share up to 5 topics that you want people to know that you're an expert in or that you're going to be talking about on LinkedIn. Your featured and activity sections are going to move higher up on your profile to show the content you're creating. You're going to become more easily discoverable. And you get access to creator tools earlier on, like LinkedIn Live, like LinkedIn newsletters. Now, one of the best places to go even more in depth here will be on LinkedIn's Creator Hub, which is a bit difficult to find, but luckily I have the link for you here, and Lucy is going to send it through to the chat. Now, to turn on creator mode, you're going to want to scroll down on your profile, and you'll see an option here to turn it on. So this is right here. And then you'll see you can add up to 5 hashtags for topics you're going to be posting about, as I mentioned before. All right, so once you have all this turned on, let's get into the actual content. So there are a lot of different types of content you can share on LinkedIn, so take your pick. We have text only, text and a link, text and an image, which tends to get 2 times more comments. We have videos, one of my favorites, articles and newsletters. This is available to both companies and individual accounts. Documents, which you can use in a carousel format. You might have seen on LinkedIn, those are gaining popularity. And polls. And so a lot of options for you to choose from. If one intimidates you, don't even worry about it. Do another one that feels less intimidating. I'm going to dive a little bit further into videos here. So why am I talking about videos? Why am I highlighting videos? The feed, if you go to your LinkedIn feed now, you will see it is saturated with written posts, but many fewer videos. So again, this is the time to take advantage of that to really stand out. Now, one thing I want to note about videos is that when you share them, you're going to want to share them as a native upload. So what this means is that you would click the video button right here on desktop or on mobile, and you're going to upload the MP4 file directly to the post. This way, the video is going to play automatically in the feed, and it's going to be more likely to lead to more views and engagement. And also make sure when you upload videos, there is now a auto captioning toggle that you can turn on. So many people watch videos on mute now, so definitely turn that on to make it easier for people. All right, next, let's talk about the importance of commenting. Now, I've always found commenting to be a bit lower stakes and pressure than making an original post coming from my own account. And I don't know if any of you are aware of this, but commenting is actually going to be the most important engagement metric on LinkedIn. So more important than likes, more important than shares, reshares. Why is this? I mentioned earlier that LinkedIn is focused on content and conversations. And so comments are showing that you're creating conversation and that you're providing valuable insights. So if you want to get more visibility for yourself, comment. If you comment, also when you eventually start making those posts on your own, it's going to help boost those in the algorithm because the algorithm can see that you're an engaged contributor. So comments just have a lot of benefits. But with your comments, I want you to make sure that your comment is adding something of value. So we see a lot of this on LinkedIn, right? And I've done this too. I agree, or well said, or thanks for sharing. But instead, you're going to want to try something that adds a little bit more substance, that either asks a question or adds something to the conversation. So you might say something like, I agree with you here. I would also add that relationships are key when building influence. Talk to someone you don't normally speak to. And also, don't forget to manage up with the leadership team. So you can see here, this person, hypothetical person, has added 2 additional points to the post. So they're adding a little bit of their insight. All right, time for another recap. We're blowing through all this. So when building your audience on LinkedIn, you'll want to make sure that you turn on creator mode. Figure out your preferred content type, and of course you can experiment and see what you like, what you don't like, and comment. So time to turn it back over to all of you. What is one thing you want to start doing when it comes to content? How do you want to start contributing content on the platform? Let me know in the chat. Oh, and I see a question here. Jessica has videos on her YouTube channel. For sure, yes, you can post those on LinkedIn. Ideally, again, you'll have the MP4 file and can upload it directly, but if not, it will have the YouTube thumbnail and people can click out. Ken, more comments, less likes. Yes, that's going to help. All right, we have creator mode. A few people. Yeah, great. It seems to be a mix of creator mode and commenting. Rick, when you go into turning on creator mode, there will be an option there that will say like add hashtags or edit hashtags or something like that. Okay, wonderful. Sean, for videos, are there different engagement rates for TikTok? Read text on screen, stickers, etc., versus more formal TED Talk type vids? I don't use TikTok, so I can't really talk to TikTok. I'm not sure if your question is asking if the video should be more formal on LinkedIn, but again, I think, you know, as long as it's relevant to a professional audience, I've seen very fun videos. So I think it's just all about experimentation and knowing who your audience is. All right, so we're going to keep moving. A lot of great questions. We will have time for Q&A at the end. All right, so last up, we're going to discuss how to add credibility on the platform. So that entails recommendations, your network, and your featured section. And today we're going to talk about these first two, recommendations and your network. Now, the first thing to do to add credibility to your LinkedIn is to make sure you're asking for and giving recommendations. So you will find this section if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of your profile. Now, before we go out to eat or we try a service, what do we usually do? We look up reviews, we go on Yelp, we go on Google reviews. This is the same thing, except it's social proof for you as a professional. Now, when you're asking for recommendations, make sure to get specific with it. What do you want them to mention in the recommendation? Is it about your responsiveness, your ability to explain complex details in a simple way? Is it your ability to motivate and inspire a team? I know for me, I have been asking people lately to leave recommendations about my work as a virtual keynote speaker, and I ask for them to touch on points that would be helpful for someone who is bringing in a speaker. So, I talk about was the audience engaged? How did they respond? What was it like to work together? Was I communicative? Was I easy to work with? And so all these things are going to be important to my audience. And on LinkedIn, when you request a recommendation, it kind of has a pre-filled note there. So just delete it and add your own personalization. Now, after you get a recommendation, you'll also want to think about returning the favor. If someone gives you a recommendation, write one back. I have heard people ask before, like, oh, does this look kind of disingenuous because it can seem like I only said good things about that person because they said something good about me. But I actually have a different take on that. I think having recommendations go both ways shows that it was a good working relationship. And I personally look upon it as a positive thing. All right, the next trick to build credibility on LinkedIn is to network. Now, I encourage you all to connect with others whose careers you admire and who you might be interested in learning from. And I also shared earlier, as people were trickling in today, share your LinkedIn profile in the chat and let's all connect with each other. So being connected to the right people will give more visibility to your work. It may help you get a referral at a company, and it can open the door to interesting opportunities down the line that can help build your credibility and visibility, again, even at a company. Now, when you send a message, just like with what we talked about with the recommendations, you really want to be specific with it. So call out something specific you saw in their profile or a point of commonality, like, hey, I saw you went to Northwestern, and you just something to show that it's personalized and you took a little bit of time. Now, you can try using a message like this one to, really increase your chances of your request being accepted. So, hi name, I'm a title at company and brief description of your work. I've been following your content and have found it really valuable as I look to grow my expertise on topic. I'd love to connect with you. Now, one thing about these messages, this is very important. I want all of you to listen because a lot of people still miss this on LinkedIn, is with this message, you want to add it into the connection request itself to make it more likely that people will accept it. So this is what it looks like on desktop. When you click that connect button, this is going to pop up. Before you click send, click add a note, copy and paste this message, and then you will send your invitation. This way, they will see a little message in their connection request section, and they will have a better sense of who you are. And almost 100% of the time when people include a message to me, I will accept it just because they put in a little bit of time and effort and I know who they are. I know they watch me, presenting somewhere. But people don't have a message. I look through, I don't always accept everyone now. So this really can go a long way in getting connected to the people you want to get connected to. And I've had people ask me before, well, do you need a premium account? I don't have a premium account. I don't have very many in-mails. This does not take up any in-mails. This does not require a premium account. So also I wanted to call out on mobile. A lot of people say, well, I don't see this on my cell phone or on the LinkedIn app. It is very hard to find. I don't know why it's not more obvious, but what you will do on LinkedIn on your mobile device is you are on the person's profile who you want to connect with. To the right of the connect button, there will be a drop down like 3 dots. Click that. You will see something that says personalized invite, and that's how you will do it on mobile. Very confusing, I know, but also will have the same impact of adding that message to your connection requests. All right, next, let's talk about how in the world are we going to find these people we want to connect with besides, looking in this amazing chat and seeing all these people on LinkedIn. So you may find them in your feed through the content they post, but you may also want to consider using the search bar here. Now notice there are all these filters at the top that allow you to see, allow you to get really specific. So I searched for a name here, Lorraine, but you can search for a title, you can search for a person at a specific company, or you can search for people who are first and second degree connections, and so much more. So I really encourage you all to utilize the search. I think it's probably something people don't turn to too often, but is a really wonderful way to grow your network. All right, to summarize, to build credibility, we are going to ask for and give recommendations and also network. So our last moment of reflection here together. What is one thing that you want to change to add credibility on the platform? Are you going to look into your recommendations, or perhaps you're going to reach out to someone new, maybe someone even from this session? So let me know in the chat. Nice, Lucia, both. Jenny wants a network. A lot of people saying both. Okay, love it. Yeah, well, you all can achieve networking today, right now, by just adding someone from this session and then practice doing that personalized note. All right, got a lot of boths. That's great. All right, well, now you're all equipped with these 3 key areas to leverage LinkedIn. I look forward to seeing all the updates to your profiles and all the increased engagement, the thought leadership, and the opportunities that are definitely going to come your way. As I mentioned at the start, I used to work at LinkedIn. I don't anymore, but there is still a reason I'm actively using the platform, even though it is not my job. I know that LinkedIn is really one of the best ways that you can stand out in your career so that you get more of those leadership opportunities, you can differentiate yourself, and also just feel more confident with your online presence. So thank you so much all for tuning in today. Don't forget you can connect with me and also subscribe to my newsletter. I send weekly bite-sized career and leadership tips with big impact. Key is bite-sized. So Lucy will be sending those through. I also have a ultimate guide to LinkedIn. So it's an ebook. It's over 40 pages. It talks about your profile, content. It gets into networking, some other unconventional bonus tips that I like to share about LinkedIn, and very easy to read, very visual. So if any of you are interested, it is 20% off today using this link that Lucy will also send through. And then my last request for all of you, I love feedback. It's so important for me to hear what I did well, what I could do differently moving forward. And also, if you're interested in having me be a speaker at your organization, I speak about LinkedIn and also a number of other topics. You can let me know in this feedback form here, which Lucy will also be sending through. So again, feel free to add me on LinkedIn, reach out as you start making changes. I can't wait to see your updates and hear about all the interesting people you're going to be meeting and all the new opportunities coming your way. And with that, let's enter Q&A.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. One of the first questions that came up was, how do you put in the background with the photo?
Yeah, so there will be a little pencil edit icon in the top right, and you'll just click that and you just replace, it'll give you the exact measurements of the ideal background photo, and then you just upload it.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you suggest including your email in the About section if you're looking for a job?
I say yes. You're able to add your contact info to the top of your profile section as well, kind of like where your profile picture and your like social media and website and all that lives. But yes, I would encourage just making it very clear how people can get in touch with you. And if they miss it in one spot, they will see it in another spot. So definitely if you're looking for a job, just add all these touch points in as many places as you can. Make it as easy as possible for the recruiter.
Sounds great. Mm-hmm. Do you recommend having a long About section, and what length would you recommend?
Yes, so I say try to fill up the whole about section if you can. Again, I mentioned the keywords are really important, and so you're just going to want to, add in as much as you can that would allow someone to more easily find you. I think the about section allows for something like 2,200 character words or characters. Characters, I think. So it's a lot of space, but if you start brainstorming and just writing things out, you'll be surprised how quickly you can fill it up sometimes.
Where does the video cover story go on in LinkedIn?
Yeah, so that will live on your profile picture. So if you all go to my LinkedIn, you will see there is an orange circle around my image, and that means that someone has a video cover story. And then you'll see a very brief preview. I think it's like 2 seconds of me kind of talking to show that there is a video cover story. If you click on my profile picture, it will give you the option to view the video cover story. And something interesting is that you'll also be able to see stats. So, 1,000 people have viewed this video so far. So that also gives you another touch point in terms of how many people are visiting your LinkedIn.
Okay. And somebody had a follow-up to that, but how do you create the video cover story?
Yeah, so within the LinkedIn app, you can create it there directly, or there's an option to upload the video afterwards. So you might want to record it separately and do some, editing or production separately outside of what LinkedIn can offer. But similar to uploading any photo, you'll just upload the video, the MP4 file, to that section.
Is the text in the background photo searchable?
I don't think it is. No, I think it's just an image.
Can business profiles also have a video cover story?
They can't right now, but they do have, I mentioned like newsletters and other of the creator functionality. So newsletters, LinkedIn Lives, for example. I think those are really great options. And then you can upload or post videos as a post as an alternative option.
How can you see if your updates attract more visitors to your profile?
So if you go to your LinkedIn analytics, you will see they have a nice graph. So they'll show like when there's spikes or drops. There's also a section where you can see how many people have viewed your profile. And so monitoring that would be a good gauge. And then also another more qualitative way would be if you're getting more messages, for example.
How often can you change your 5 hashtag selections?
Whenever you want. I would try to not change them too often because you want to be known for, something, for those specific things. But if you want to experiment and you're saying, oh, maybe me talking about X and Y is not really resonating with people, but I see me talking about A and B really is, and maybe, yeah, you might transition or shift your focus that way. But again, this is really a way for people to get a quick take. You'll see the hashtags under your profile picture, so people will go and immediately know, okay, Lucy talks about A, B, C, D, E, F, for example. Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense. And a couple of people had a question about this, about when you're switching industries.
Huh?
Somebody had from academia to corporate,
Yeah.
just about any industry, I guess. How
Yeah.
do you make it clear and how do you explain what you bring to the table?
Yeah. I coached someone recently who was shifting from education to more of a design focus. It's definitely doable. I would say, again, focus on those keywords. So, what jobs are you looking for? Like, gather a bunch together. Maybe you run the job descriptions through like something like ChatGPT to pull out themes and keywords that you see repeated throughout. You're going to want to use those keywords in your profile. And again, I mentioned the about section is kind of showing that qualitative side. So I think it's a really, wonderful opportunity for you to talk about your story. Why are you shifting? Why this new industry? What about it appeals to you? And then there's always going to be overlap between industries in terms of your skill set. So just figuring out, again, by looking at those job descriptions, what are those parallels and what can you highlight in the about and your LinkedIn headline as well.
Sure, thank you.
Great question.
Someone wrote, I find that many people continually post and it comes off as self-serving and self-aggrandizing, hence feel that perhaps there's a negative association with posting often. What are your thoughts?
I don't think there's a negative association with posting often. I think it's important to Well, not necessarily post often. So I think the most important thing first is to create a regular cadence of posting. So for you, if realistically once a month is your benchmark, just make sure that you're starting off with that once a month. And I actually like to say just keep your benchmark really low, because normally you'll exceed it and you'll feel better and you'll realize, okay, I can actually do a little bit more than this. But start with a low expectation. That's totally fine. And then you build up on it. And then over time, it's really important for that consistency, because you want people to know that you post content and that you are someone they can turn to, right? And that they want to follow to get more information. And people are not going to follow someone they see like a one-off post from, they're going to follow someone who's like, okay, this person is posting with some sort of regular cadence. I can expect to see them in my feed regularly. And so I think that regular cadence is totally fine. I think, yeah, there's definitely people on LinkedIn. I feel like it's kind of a joke with LinkedIn that they're the people who are, always bragging and kind of trying to cover it in like a more humble humble rap, but you can still tell they're bragging. So I think we didn't talk about this as much today, but it's really about how can I help people? What is some educational or informational content I can share? And I think with that perspective in mind, or sharing about your own personal experiences, the content types I say are personal, educational, not content types, content themes, personal, educational, informational. So focusing on those three, I think, and just being conscientious that you don't want to be someone who's bragging on the platform, I think you will end up with good posts.
Great. A couple of people asked if LinkedIn Premium is worth it.
I think it depends on what you're looking for. So if you're a job seeker, it might be worth it. There are some kind of not behind the scenes, but there's an interview portal that allows you to, for example, write out interview responses and also record yourself giving video responses. And also you can see examples of good video responses to interview questions. So like if you're a job seeker, that might be something really useful for you. Also a list of the most asked interview questions. If you are someone who is wanting to send a lot of in-mails to people you don't know, although, use the personalized connection request is a nice hack as well, then maybe premium is going to be beneficial to you. If it's important for you to see, everyone who's looked at your profile and getting more in-depth analytics, maybe. So I think just look at the features and see, and often they have like a 1 month free trial, so you can test it out and see if it makes sense for you.
Sure.
Mhm.
Well, Ivan wrote, great presentation and visuals. What did you use to create this presentation?
Yeah, so I use Prezi actually. So I designed it in Prezi, and then I'm presenting it through Prezi Video. And then I'm also using a product called Camo, Camo, to beautify my video a little bit more. So not the actual content, but like the coloring and the lighting and all that on my video.
As someone who has over 300,000 followers, congratulations. You know a lot about this. Alec wrote, they recently had a post that got over 8,000 impressions. Does this mean anything?
It means that it resonated. Impressions are really good. I would also look at, again, the comments and engagement. But I think 8,000, yeah, that's very solid. I would say, on average, like mine get a few thousand impressions, just an everyday post. So you are definitely like getting views, and people are engaging and seeing it, or at least the people who are liking it, that means their network is seeing it, and so on and so on. And so I would, if you're someone who wants to post content regularly, might look at that post and say, what resonated? What about this resonated? And maybe try doing another similar post on the topic, or maybe you do a video on the topic, or just a poll on the topic, just experiment different ways that you kind of get the same ideas and content out there. It's
And this
great.
related,
Yeah.
someone asked, how do they access LinkedIn Analytics?
I think you can access it under your like profile in the top right, the drop down, there will be an analytics button. And you also, on your profile itself, if you scroll down, there will be a spot to click analytics, or like see more, something like that. Kind of near the activity section, it'll show up. Yeah.
Okay, this is a little bit off topic, but I think it's a great question.
Okay.
how can I set a filter to only look at jobs where I'm the top 10 or 25% candidate?
I don't know if that's possible right now. Oh, but that is something that comes with premium. You can see some of those insights, but I don't think there's a filtering mechanism for that. And I mean, it's a good barometer to, get a sense if you're a good candidate, but also a lot of what they're determining that off of is, for example, are the skills in your LinkedIn profile matching the skills of the job description? And sometimes the skills are very, not arbitrary, but, I might see, like maybe on my profile, I would put social media, and on the job description, it might say social media marketing. So there's, little discrepancies like that. So I think it's still good to just go into the job description. I know I think this person is trying to probably cull down a list of all of the potential job opportunities. But yeah, I don't think there's an easy way, unfortunately, to do that. And who knows, you might be really qualified for another job that doesn't necessarily say you're within like the 10 to 25%.
Right. There are so many questions. Does
Yeah, that's
anyone
good.
wanna- I know.
I was like worried for you because I saw the chats were just going, going, going during the whole
I
thing.
know.
How's Lucy gonna keep track?
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Um, Andrea wrote, if I indicate open to work, but
Yeah.
want it visible only to recruiters, is it really open only to recruiters? Used to be able to see public view, but now I can't get that.
Yeah, you should it will be, so what they do is it will be available only to recruiters, and they will try to, if you're in a job right now, not show that to recruiters at your company or anyone who's kind of in that peripheral, like very kind of close network. And if you go to change that option, you will see there is kind of more of a description of who it gets shown to, and then also the option as well if you are open to work and you want everyone to see it.
Cool. That's really good to know.
Mhm.
Does anyone want to come off, help me out, come off mute and ask a question? Live?
I guess I would ask just follow up, Ty, Elizabeth Spenko, based on that. Do you feel like there is still kind of a negative connotation with saying I'm available to hire? I forget what the exact term is, versus just having recruiters do it, like allowing recruiters to know that you're open to work. Can you talk about the pros and cons of just doing the recruiter versus saying I'm also open?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. And it's kind of hard to answer that. I think so there's a difference. There's open to work, and there's also hiring. So if you're hiring, there's now a purple filter as well for you to indicate that. But I think, Elizabeth, you're asking about open to work. It depends. I think probably, even a few years ago, it might have, you know, people might have looked down a little bit that you have the open to work green banner. But these days, I think it's a lot more accepted. And, it just depends how clear you want to make it, right? If someone's going to your profile and sees that you have this amazing profile, oh, and this person's open to work, maybe that opens the door to more opportunities. But if you are not comfortable with that green filter around your profile picture, you still, behind the scenes on your profile, can indicate open to work. You can turn on job alerts and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I think it's kind of personal preference. And you will still kind of get that visibility. Recruiters will still be able to know that you're open to work, even if it's more behind the scenes. Okay,
All right, I have a question. This is Lauren.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually, sorry, Lauren, I'm gonna go just in the order of the hand raising. I think that's probably an easier way if people can just raise their virtual hand. So I saw Jessica was next.
Yeah, I have a question. So you used the word native content earlier. For those of us, like, I have my own blog, I have a YouTube channel. Is it better to is it bad if we post a link from an article that we wrote on our website that's already popular, or do we have to write the article on LinkedIn or make a video?
Yeah, that's alludes to the question that always gets asked about the algorithm. I think LinkedIn prefers things that are native to the platform so that people are not clicking out. But if it's really amazing content, like I don't want that to stop you from sharing it. So I think it takes some experimentation. I know some people maybe will put the link in the comments instead of the actual post. So I would just experiment how you post with it. But yeah, ideally, like it's going to stand LinkedIn platform, but that's not the case, like with YouTube and things like that. So yeah, I think it's just about really focusing. I try to tell people not to focus too much on the algorithm and just focus on creating really good content that helps others.
Okay, because like I saw somebody the other day that I follow, and a disability activist, they posted an article from their blog, but then it was a picture. And then like, but it was an interesting article, and then she's like, link to article in the comments.
Yeah. So people try to do creative things to kind of get see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, the algorithm is a tricky thing. I think really it's just try to create really helpful content and share helpful things. So that's my rule of thumb.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Peggy, you're next.
Yes, my question has to do with each job listed and the amount of description that's really necessary. Some people list very little and others include, I would say, their resume. And I've been wondering whether that helps to include more.
You mean the job posters is posting the job description, or could you clarify?
The person who owns the profile, your own profile. And if you're looking for a job, is it better to list several bullet points?
Oh yeah. Yes, definitely. I think, again, I mentioned LinkedIn is your profile is the foundation. It's your online landing page. And so I say include as much information as you can on there. If you are a recruiter and I'm going to, if I'm a recruiter, I'm going to someone's page and it's very sparse. I mean, I think that's going to reflect on how I see them versus someone else who has a complete profile, and I can see, all of the things they've accomplished at their past jobs and all the awards they've won and all the things they've published. Like that person to me is going to be a more appealing candidate. So I say fill it out as much as you can.
Thanks, that's very helpful.
Yeah, of course. Lauren?
Hey,
Hey.
Lorraine, I was going to ask if you have any tips for job seekers coming back to the workforce after not working for a few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, LinkedIn has this new feature now that's really great, and you can actually add a career break. It's like a formal position, a career break in your experience section. And so I think adding that and talking about what you did or what you didn't do, I think is a good thing to include on your profile. And then I think you would leverage the about section again to kind of, if there's something that you feel needs to be explained, I think leverage that section to kind of tell your story, what the career break was about. And then whatever job you're looking for next, again, use those keywords, put it in the about section, put it in the headline, and then network with people who have those similar roles that you're looking for.
Know about the career break as a position, so that's really helpful. Do you think that excludes you from a lot of searches as opposed to leaving your last role as president and not filling in a completion date? I feel like that gets more incoming.
I don't think necessarily. If you feel like you're getting a lot of outreach by not having the career break and people are not asking why there was a break, then I think by all means, keep things as they are. If you feel like people are maybe discriminating against you or asking questions or maybe wondering, even subconsciously, like, why is there a gap? I think the career break is good to add and to, share a little bit more about it. And I think the really good thing, and at least, within tech, the trends I'm noticing now is that companies like when people go on breaks because it means when they're coming into a new job, they're not going to be burnt out. And I think just mental health is becoming a more accepted and just like commonly discussed thing that's important to the workplace. So being able to show that you took that time to yourself is like a totally, wonderful thing.
I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, looks like Arlene raised her hand. Arlene.
Hi, Lorraine. Great
Hi.
talk. I was just wondering if you also advise at a company level. I think this is great information that I would like to bring back to my consulting agency for you to share this tip, not just with the consultants, but with the company in general to help from a business standpoint in improving their LinkedIn presence. Do you do company or do you do just more individual sort of advisement on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I do company. And also, there is a lot of, I think what a lot of companies don't realize, a lot of companies are nervous about employees getting on LinkedIn. Does this mean they're looking for a new job? Like, I don't want them to be out there, but companies who can support individuals in being on LinkedIn and getting their, voice out there, it really just helps both parties. So, yes, I help on the company side, and I also just want to say the individual aspect is important for company success as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, I think we could do another hour of this, but I'd be considerate of everyone's time. Lorraine, any last words for us?
I just want to say thank you all for taking the time. I know we're all so busy, and I hope this was helpful. And I just want to emphasize again that LinkedIn is such a powerful platform. Whether you are job seeking, whether you are trying to grow your brand, there's just a huge spectrum of things, but definitely, really looking forward to seeing all the improvements you all make. And it might seem overwhelming, but just, take it step by step, you'll get there. And reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn. And also, again, if you can fill out the feedback form, that would mean a lot. So thank you all.
That's terrific. Thank you so much, Lorraine. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I will be sending a link to the playback once I've gone through the audio and make sure that the text is readable. And I'll share the chat as well, which I don't usually do, but because so many people have shared their LinkedIn
Yeah, that'd be great.
contact information, I think it's really important. And I'll reshare the links that Lorraine shared with us, with me, and that I put in the chat so that you all have it. So if you didn't grab it or you need it later on, you'll have it. And thank you so much, Lorraine. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you. Amazing. Good meeting all of you. Thank you again.
Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Go Cats.